So welcome to day 2 on Zoho Creator end-to-end training series, and this is the second day. I'm Surendra Manoj, and I'll be the host for today's session. Before we continue with the session, I have a few points to be announced. All the attendees of this session will be placed on mute. So if you have any questions, please do use the questions tab, which is available on the left-hand side. Our co-trainers will be actively answering all the questions you have. And a recording of the session, both today and yesterday's, will be sent to all the attendees of this session. We will send it as soon as possible from our end. And we will be floating a few questionnaires, polls, and surveys to understand how we are performing the session, and how to design the upcoming sessions. So please do take a few minutes of your time and provide us with valuable feedbacks, which will help us a lot in deciding our course of action. Let us get started with custom functions. Yesterday in our session, we discussed about deluge, the basics of deluge, data types which we handle in deluge, how we can write a conditional, if condition, if and else, how we can do a for loop, and how we can iterate through every record which is available in a form, or how we can iterate through the records matching a certain condition. And we also discussed about how to update a record which is available on form, right? So we did all those actions using a custom function. So there are multiple locations where we can write the delete script. We discussed that in detail yesterday. We can write that in workflows, and the workflows can be triggered in multiple form actions and record actions. So the record actions include while creating a record, while editing a record, or it can be both creating or editing and deleting. And when it comes to function, while it comes to form actions, it's like while we are loading the form on user input of a particular field, if there is a subform, that workflow can be triggered while adding or deleting a row, on validation of the form and on successful submission of the form. So in all these cases, the deluge script gets executed on that particular action alone. So if I'm writing a deluge script on user input of a particular field, the same set of code cannot be reused in a different place. But the same, if I'm writing a set of code in custom function, we can reuse that same code multiple times. Let me show you a small example. So the functions is available under workflow. Under workflow, we have the options for form workflows, schedules, approvals, payments, blueprints, report workflows, and functions. And this blueprint is a new feature. We'll be explaining that, or we'll be showing you a small feature of blueprint at the end of the session. And at the last, we have the function. So this is the place where we can write our own release scripts, our own code, which can be reused all over the account. It's not just limited to this application. The custom functions which we are writing in a application can be reused in another application which is available in the same account. Let us start with an example. Let me create a new function over here. Let us say, let's call it as data. So while we are naming the function, we should make sure there are no special characters other than underscore, and there are no spaces. So that is one important parameter, and we have to select the language in which we are going to write the custom function. So we'll be starting with deluge. We also have option to write custom functions in Java and Node.js as well. So first we'll be starting with deluge, and I'll also show an example of how we can write a function in Java and how we can write a function in Node.js, and how these functions are getting called into the workflows, and we are getting the desired output. And the third one we have to select is the namespace. So for example, if you want to contain all your functions in a particular group, we can add our own namespace over here. If not, we can add everything in the default namespace. For now, I am putting the default namespace. And the last one we have to select is the return type the function is supposed to give. For example, I'm writing a function and I'm going to call the function in a deluge script. And this function is supposed to give me sum of two numbers, which means it is going to take two numbers as arguments, and return me a number as a value, and this number can be taken out of delivery script and then used in our system so that we have to inform, or we have to define the return type of the function while we are creating the function itself. The same can be changed, but it is better to select the return type while we are creating the function. In our case, what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a list. So let us create a function which returns us a list, and if we have any arguments, we can specify the arguments over here, or we can get the arguments while we are building the function. Let me create a function. So the function is getting created. So now the day2 is a function which is going to return list. We can see the moment I said this is going to return a list, the return type of the list has been populated by default. So yesterday we saw for loop, right? So in this example, what we are going to do is we are going to execute a for loop, but it's not a straight one. If I give a number, I'm going to get a list of values which are I'm going to get a list which is having the exact number of certain characters which I'm feeding in. For example, let us say I'm getting a integer int value val. So whatever value which I'm going, this function has to create a list which is having a set of characters. So let me code over that. Let me initiate a list first. Let us say a equal to list and b equal to empty string. So now let us say b dot c equal to b dot write pad. So the write pad, what it does is it gets an integer value, and using that integer value, it adds or it adds so many digits which have been defined. For example, if b is having the value as QWER, which is 4. If I give write pad as 5, there will be a space which is added next to this string QWER. Okay. So now what we are going to do is we are going to pass on the value or pass on the number val as a input to this write pad function and convert the output to a list. So let us say uh, write pad of val dot to list, and I'm going to convert every single character to a list. So let us say TYUIOT. So there are around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 letters. So let me just save it and let us return the list C. Execute, and let me give the value as 4. Oh, sorry. Let's give it a substring. So here we can see the values TYU alone has been returned to us. So we have given the string as QWERTYUIOP, and when I'm asking the system to give me a substring, which is just 3 characters after the index which I am providing. So let us get this value as dynamic as well. So let me get one more string. String val string. So let us pass this val string over here. So now we have a working custom function which can return us with a list. Now let us get into our form workflow and call this custom function to understand how it is getting used in our forms. So let me go and create a new form. We call it as custom function example. And let us add two fields to this form. One is going to be a number field and another one is going to be a single line field. So let me add a single line field. We call it as message, and add a number field and we call it as slicer. So let it be message and let this be slicer. So now let me get into the workflow. So let us get into the custom function example. Let me refresh. So now let me get into the workflows. Here we have this form custom function example. Let me call this workflow which we just custom function which we just created. I'll say while we are creating, let us create on user input of the field. The moment I give the slicer, I want the message to be sliced and displayed to me. So let me give it as slice and display. So let me the workflow is getting created. On action, I can call the custom function two ways. One, I can go ahead and use the drag and drop feature over here. If you are not so sure about how to do this, you can simply drag and drop, and then we can go and select any application which is available inside our account. So this place will display all the applications which we have created, and if we can choose any of the application and the custom function which is available in that particular application will be visible to us. So here we can see I have one custom function called integration task. If I go for a different application, here I have one default namespace and I have several custom functions, and any of these custom functions can be called on to this application. So let us stick to the custom function which we just created in our application. So it's in the default namespace and the function name is going to be day2, and it is taking two arguments. The first argument is going to be the value which is an integer. We'll give the slicer. Let me and the value string, we can choose the message. And this is one way of doing it, or we can simply go ahead and type it. So the moment I say this app dot, it's going to list me all the custom functions which is available. In case this is in a different application, we have to give the application name and then dot. It is going to list us with all the functions which are available in that application. So I can say day2, and the moment I say it is showing me the system or the function accepts two parameters. One is an integer and another one is a string. So we can just choose the fields which we are going to pass on as an input. So let us say slicer for the integer and message for the string. So these are the two ways how we can call a custom function into Deluge. Let me just save this and get into the form. We reload it. Here you can see we have the form custom function day2, and let me give you the message over here. Welcome to E2E learning series. And I'm going to splice only E2E. So it is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let me give it as 11. I forgot to alert the value. So this is going to be x is equal to alerting. So I forgot to put the alert message over here. And let me do the same one more time. Welcome to learning. And I give the value as 11, and it is reflecting us with the values E2 and E. So that is how we can use build a custom function and call the same custom function inside our Deluge workflow. So this custom function is reusable across the applications in a single account. So we can write, or in case if we have multiple workflows to be maintained, we can write all the custom functions in one single application and maintain that as a master application. And we can call all the custom functions from that application, so that it will be easy for us to maintain all the functions, active functions which are being handled over that. So now let us get into the next step of custom function, where we can understand how we are writing Java and Node.js functions in our custom function. So I'll show you an example which we have built already. It's Node.js and yes, Java. So this is a Java custom function. So while we are creating the function, right? So let me get into the functions. While we are going for a function, while we are creating a new function, it is going to ask us the language in which we are going to build. So when we are going for deluge, we have the return type to be string, int, float, everything. But if you are going for Java or Node.js, we can see that the namespace will be default. We will not have option to choose our own namespace, and the return type by default will be set to collection. We cannot have any other return type other than collection. So the same applies for Java as well. And these Java functions, once they return the collection, it gets called on in a deluge workflow, and from there the collection gets processed. Let me give you a small example. So this is a example where we have created a watermarking system. So we can upload an image, and we can also tell what text is to be watermarked in that particular image. And the watermarked image gets uploaded in the same record. For example, let me go and add an image over here, and let's call it as this test sample. And let me just add a white image. I'm just taking a screenshot of this place and I'm uploading it. It will be a white image where we'll be getting the getting this watermark text as a watermark in it. So let me go to the screenshots folder. So this is the white image which I'm going to upload, and we'll be getting this test sample. This is a test sample text in that image. So let me submit it. The system process, and it is giving me a success message. It is saying this is the file name and this is the original file name, and the file upload is successful. So let me get into the report and show you the difference over here. So here you can see this is a image which has not been watermarked. This is a plain image which we uploaded into the system, and this is the watermarked image. Here we can see the image which we uploaded is watermarked and then re-uploaded into the creator form. Just give it a few seconds to load, and this entire process here we can see this is a test sample. So this text has been watermarked into the image, and it is re-uploaded into the creator form. And this entire process is handled using this Java function, which is generate watermark, and all the configurations and libraries associated to this function are handled here. So we have config.json. So this is the router and connector, and I have the Java code, which is getting the image, which is getting which is uploading the image back to the system, and which is also watermarking. So let me take you through the code in a quick manner. These are the libraries or the packages which we are importing into the system. So in Java, it's class. So these are the classes which we are importing, and then we are getting the string, getting the image in the form of string using our auth token, and we are writing a basic IO. So we are doing a basic IO write function, and using this write function, we are getting a HTTP connection, and this HTTP connection is used to send the data back after appending. So I can share the entire code along with the recordings to you if it's required. And this function, you can see at the end, it returns us with the collection. It's a full Java code which is running on create a server. It takes a system, converts or does the operations and returns us with a collection. And this collection in turn gets called inside the workflow of creator, and from there we can process the entire system. So the same can be done using Node.js as well. So here we can see we have this is a Node.js function which is just to do the calculator, and the configurations, the node modules are being listed over here. This average.js is the one which is having all the functions which we have written in the Node.js. We have the average calculation, we have the products, we have the sum, we have the difference, everything, and these functions are being called in the calculator function.js. Here we can see we have the product, sum, difference, division, everything. And these output, the basic IO dot write output can be obtained in the form of a collection in the deluge script, and from there we can take it up and process. So that is how we can write multiple custom functions in multiple languages. Currently, we are supporting Deluge, Java, and Node.js functions, and we can call these functions into our creator and enhance the system. So coming to the next step, which is the integrations. So so far we have seen how we can write a custom function and enhance the capabilities, right? So there are too many scenarios where we have to make a system work with another system in part. For example, let us say there's a customer who's using a CRM and he wants to automate the process. And in that case, we what we can do is we have to write or build a custom solution which can automate the existing CRM rather than building a new CRM. So in that case, we can go for integration. Zoho Creator is a custom solution application which is having a high capability of getting integrated with all the products of Zoho, as well as the products other than Zoho's ecosystem which are having API endpoints exposed to it. So let us take a small look about the integration, and then we'll understand how we can integrate two products and what are the requisites to get integrated. So this is a creator form which I have integrated with Zoho Desk and Zoho CRM. So the purpose is if I am giving a name, email, phone number, a contact in Zoho CRM gets generated, and a ticket in Zoho Creator gets created. For example, let me say this name. In the name, let's give it as E2E learning series. And let the email be e2e@gmail.com. The phone number, let me give a dummy number. And the message is this is a sample demo for integration between CRM, desk, and creator. So I'm going to fill this form alone, this single form, and we can see the last ticket which we have is this is a test ticket, and the contact here we can see the last contact is Shivaguru. Let me submit it. In the log details, we can see we have two success messages. One is from CRM. We have created a record in CRM, as well as we have created a ticket in desk. Let me take you to the desk first. Here we can see the ticket with the name, with the title. This is a sample demo for integration between CRM, desk, and creator has been created. The same, if I get into contacts, let me refresh it. We can see a new contact named E2E will be generated over there. So here you can see a new contact with the name E2E learning series has been generated. So the question here is, why do we have to go for this kind of integration? Or why do I have to do the automation which I just did, right? So there are a lot of advantages of doing this automation. The first advantage which we have is we can reduce the human effort in the system. Here we can see the purpose of filling this form as can be assumed in such a way that once someone fills a form and if they are not in the system, I want to create a new contact in my CRM. At the same time, I have to make sure that the issue with which they are reaching out to me has to be solved. In that case, I have automated the process. The person who is entering the first hand, he will be entering his data, and the same data gets transferred to CRM without any intermediary, and the ticket creation process is also automated. So if we are not doing this automation process, so the regular step will be someone will be filling this creator form, and the person from CRM will be accessing the form, getting the data and feeding it into the system, and the person from desk team, they will be accessing this form, getting the data and feeding into their system. So here there are possibilities for human errors due to the repetition, and there is a unwanted effort which is happening. If we can integrate multiple products together, it's not just the products which are inside Zoho ecosystem. There may be a legacy system which is operating in our organization, and we want to automate that legacy system, since because there won't be much of scope or much of option to enhance that legacy system anymore. In that case, we can go for these kinds of integration. So now let us go and take a look at how we are establishing these integrations. What are the extent to which we can establish this integration, and so and so. Now let me take you to the custom function where we have established the integration. And before we get into the integration, our co-trainers will be sharing you with the link which is containing documents for all the integrations which is available with Zoho Creator or any other products of Zoho. So let us start with integrating Zoho Creator with Zoho Desk. I'll show one real example. Let me get into the edit mode of the application. So let me create a new form and we call it as desk. So what we are going to do is we are going to fill a form in Creator, and the record is going to be created in Zoho Desk. To do that, we should understand the field structure. So if I am taking a ticket, I am creating a new ticket over here. So I should understand the field structure of this ticket. I should know what are the fields which are available and what are the mandatory fields which we have to provide to the system, so that the system takes the request. Here you can see the fields which have been marked in red are mandated ones: contact name, subject, status, and these are the three fields which are mandated. So I'll pass on these three fields as value to the integration task. So let's get started. Before we start with the form, the first thing we have to do if we are trying to integrate or if we are trying to automate a process is to create a connection. So the connection is nothing but informing the system. These are the scopes which we are going to allow this particular this particular app to do, or this particular system to perform in the user's application. So to do that, we have to get into a dashboard. Here we have the option called setup. The top right, we have the option for setup. Once we click on setup, we'll be taken to this account setup, where uh, under integration, we have the option for connections. So this connection allows us to define the scope and action which can be performed by that client on the protected resource. So let me create a new connection. I have created a lot of connections over here. Let me create a new connection for this demo. We have a set of pre-built connections for third-party applications as well. So there is a pre-built connection for QuickBook. There's a pre-built connection for Salesforce. If we have to integrate with any of the payment options, we have the connections for them. We have Authorize.net, Razorpay, Stripe, and for SMS we have Clickatel, World Clock SMS, Spring Magics and all. In case if you are looking to establish a connection which is not readily available, so we can simply go for Zoho OAuth. So the Zoho OAuth is where we will be displayed with all the scopes which are available in the ecosystem. So let me give a connection name. We call it as E2E test. And in test, it is asking me what are the actions which can be done. So you can see the scopes which I am enabling for this particular connection is going to determine the actions which can be done by that client. For example, so I'm going to create a ticket. So let me say desk.basic.create, or let's go for desk.tickets.create. If I say desk.tickets.all, I'll be given the option to create, delete, read, or update. But if I say no, I'm going to only create a ticket and I'm not going to delete, read, or update any of the ticket. I can go ahead and say create. And if I go for authorize, the system will ask me if I'm ready to authorize this particular client or this particular endpoint to create a tickets in my organization, which is Happy Students. So let me click on accept. We click on authorize. Let me click on accept, and the connection gets created. So here you can see we have the connection E2E desk. So in connection also we have two names. One is the field name, one is the connection name, and another one is the connection link name. While we are calling this connection in our integration task, we have to make sure we are using the connections link name and not the connection name. Earlier there was no restriction; we were allowed to do the connection name as well, but now the restriction has been enforced so that we have to call the connection link name rather than the connection name. So this is how we establish the connection. If we want to add more scopes, we can go edit and add scopes to it. So here we can see I have added tickets.create, and I'm going to say I want to do all the tasks. Deluge desk.tickets.all, and I click on it. So it is asking me whether I'm allowing the connection to do all the read write operations in its resource and its sub resource. I'm accepting it, and now using this connection, I'll be able to perform all the actions which are to be done on Zoho Desk regarding tickets. Now let us get into our application. We get into home. I will tell you the application. Okay, let me create a new application over here. Sorry. And we call it as E2E. Let me create a form. We call it as desk creator integration. Desk creator integration. And in desk, we have seen there are three main fields which are required. One is the contact name, another one is the subject, and third one is the status. Let me start with the contact name. So let us put up a single line field over here, and we call it as name. And the next one is going to be subject and status. Put up a multi-line field. We call it as subject. Subject, and we put one more single line field. We call it as status. So now get into the workflow. Let me create a new form workflow. Let's say while I'm submitting the form, or I have filled all the values and I have submitted it, it's always better to trigger the integration on successful submission. If we are triggering the integration on user input of a field, and let us say we are supposed to create a ticket on user input of a particular field, and the person suddenly goes back and changes the value of a different field. And so the latest information may not get captured over that. So it is always better to capture or enable the integration on successful submission. So let me get into that and say integration. So creating a new action, we create it by delete script. So let us say this equal to Zoho dot. So just give me 1 second. I just reload why the prediction is not working. So it's Zoho dot desk dot create records. So the moment I say Zoho.desk.create record, it is asking me for the parameters such as the organization ID, which I have to get from the desk, the module in which I want to create the record, and the data which I am supposed to pass on as a value, and the last one is the connection. So let us get these values one by one. Let me get into the desk. In desk, if I get into setup under API developer space, we have this option for API. Once I get into API, we see the org ID at the end. At the lowest bottom, we'll have the org ID. Let me copy that org ID over here and paste it. And the next one is the module in which I'm going to create the record. So which is in the tickets module. And the module is going to be tickets. And then we have to pass on a map as a value, and for now we are skipping it. And let us go and say the connection. The connection is the one which we just created. We saw how we can establish a connection, right? I just forgot the name. Okay, let me work with the connection which I normally use. I just forgot the link name of this connection. Uh, the connection which I normally use is Ready connection. So since I forgot the link name, I'm using it. I have to go back and get it from the account setup. So to save time, I'm using the existing connection. So you can create your own connection and use that. And the next one, it is asking me map as a value. So let us go ahead and construct the map which we are going to pass on as a value to that particular record. To do that, we should know the field link names. Here we can see let me get into the edit mode of a ticket. We can see we have all the fields, but the field names and the field link names may vary depending on scenarios. So here we can see the contact name. It may be it may have a different field link name. So we have to get the field link name first. Let me just get the record ID and come over here and say response is equal to Zoho dot desk dot get record by ID, and we are going to pass the record ID first, and then we will. So this is the record ID which I copied, and this is the org ID, and this is the module, and this is the connection. It's the connection. And let me for response and getting into the number two. So it's info. I've given a mistake over here. Done and access the application. So if I go ahead and submit it, I'll be given details. So here, this is the log detail or the full detail of that particular record. Let me just copy that and paste that in JSON beautifier. JSON beautifier. This is a tool where we can beautify the JSON which are not in a proper structure. Here we can see if I can go ahead and say beautify, it is going to give me the entire structure in the form of key value pair. From where I can get all the desired details. The first detail which I wanted over here is the field name. The first field name is going to be contact name. If we can search for the contact name field over here, contacts. So the name which we are going to pass on is, let me copy this. So this is the reason. So sometimes the field name and the field link name will be different. So we are on desk integration. So category solution dash product name account ID. Okay, this contact name. Let me take you to a existing code. I think I'm not able to get that field's name over here. Let me take you to the existing code which I have created. So this is the existing code which is used to integrate CRM and desk. Here we can see the last name, email, and mobile. Let me get the desk one as well. Okay, so it is asking me to pass on the department ID and contact ID. It is not just the contacts. So let me go ahead and add that over here. So let's go and create the map. Let me zoom in. Let me say tmap equal to a map and tmap dot put. The first key which we are going to pass on here is going to be the subject. So the field name for that subject is going to be subject. So let us take the subject over here. The whatever value which we are passing as a key is supposed to be the field link name of the module in which we are creating the ticket. So subject and let me pass a value over here. So the subject be subject field and body map dot put. The next parameter which we are supposed to pass are status and priority. Coming over here, status, and we give it as status and we give it as status. Body map dot put. Let me get the priority field name as well. The priority we have show, and the priority is going to be we put it as high. And there are two additional parameters which we are supposed to pass on, which is the department ID and the contact ID. The department ID is to mention to which department this ticket is supposed to pass on. For example, in my account, we can see I have two different departments. Here you can see under departments, I have two different departments over here. One is HS Edu and another one is marketing. So we can choose to which department this ticket is supposed to go. If we want to get the department ID, we can simply click on any of the department in the URL we can see the department ID at the end. We can just get that, and body map.put department ID. That is going to be department ID. Let me confirm whether it is the right text. Okay, so it's a department ID. I have added a underscore over here, and the next one which we are supposed to pass is the contact ID. Let me copy the key from here. Put the contact ID, and the ID contact ID is going to be the contact ID. So now we have constructed our body map, and we are going to pass this map as a value, or this map as a data to the integration task. Let me say this is body map, and now let us info response. Let me save this. There's no error. Let me get here, and if I reset, here we can see the last ticket which has been created in Zoho Desk is going to be. This is a sample demo integration between CRM desk and creator. Let me add a new field over here. Let me add the name to be Shivaguru, and let the subject be, this is test ticket for E2E demo, and status be open. Commit it. Viewing the long details, we can see there is a success response. If we get into our tickets, we can see there is a new ticket which has been created. So this is how we establish integration between desk and creator. So while we are establishing the integration, there are a few things we have to understand. The integration is also a beautifully wrapped up form of API call. So all the integration calls which you are making is constituting to the API limits of your account. So we have to make sure that we are not over using or exhausting our API limits. Okay, we have to make sure of that, and this integration task which I showed you can work only between the applications of the same account. For example, Zoho creator of Surendra Manoj can be integrated with Zoho desk of Surendra Manoj, provided both the Zoho desk and creator are in the same mail ID. Okay, so I have used the mail ID Surendra Manoj surendra.srt0. Let me show the mail ID in both the accounts. So only in that case we will be able to. So here you can see the mail ID which is used is surendra.sr plus t0 at zohodesk.com, and even if I get into desk, the mail ID which you are seeing is surendra.sr plus t0 at zohodesk.com. Only if both the applications are under the same account, and we can establish a inbuilt integration task between these two applications. What if the applications are in two different accounts? Okay, what if, let us say, the application Zoho Desk is with Abhinaya, and the Zoho Creator is Surendra Manoj, and now I want to get all the data, and for every request that comes to my creator form, I want to transfer the data to Abhinaya's desk account, and from there, Abhinaya will be processing the request. How can we achieve it? Since we have discussed that inbuilt integration tasks can be handled only within the same account. For that, we'll be going for we will be going for V2 API. So the V2 API works with OAuth 2.0 method. A link to that V2 method will be shared to you by our co-trainers. We'll be discussing how we can integrate Zoho Creator with Zoho Desk using V2 API. Okay. So give me a second. Let me have some water. Thank you. And now let us go ahead and continue with our integration. So in this process, we are going to integrate Zoho Creator with Zoho Desk, which is available in a different account. So let me get into profiles and POC. Here we have desk.zoho.com. Let me log into the system. Just give me 1 second. Desk.zoho.com. So now we are going to integrate creator application in one account to the desk application in a different account. Here you can see the account to which we are going to integrate is zcpppoc@gmail.com, and the creator application will be present in Zoho Creator, Surendra Manoj at zohocreator.com. Let me just zoom it out. You can see from this account we are going to integrate the ticket to we are going to send create tickets in the application which is available in a different account, for which we'll be using V2 API. Let me close the completed tabs. So close these. So this is the V2 API documentation. So our co-trainers will be sharing you with this documentation in the chat section. So before we get into the API V2 establishment, let us try to understand a few terminologies about the creators, about the V2 API, how the V2 API works, and then let us go and start implementing the V2 API. Let me take you to the presentation for this. We close these finished sections. So let us get into OAuth 2.0. So Creator or any other Zoho applications which are using the V2 API is getting authenticated using the OAuth 2.0. So OAuth 2.0 is a protocol for authentication. Okay, so it has a dedicated system to protect the resources which are being accessed by API. And this web app, which has been running in the server, interacts with the tokens rather than the application, rather than the user credentials. Okay, so that gives us more security, and the access control is more granular when we are comparing to any other authentication system. So we can control the actions which can be performed by a client on the protected resource. For example, when we establish the connection, we saw the scopes, right? We even in the ticket, we had four scopes. One is to create a ticket, read, delete, write. So in that case, if I'm enabling the connection with only the scope to create a ticket, the connection cannot be used. Sorry, the connection cannot be used to read or update a ticket. The same if we are using if you are creating a connection, or if you are generating a auth token in V2 API, what are the scopes which we are defining while generating the code is the scope or the actions which can be done by the client using that particular API. So that is the kind of granular control we can do on actions as well on the protected resource rather than just controlling the access. So the security gets increased. For example, the access token which we are generating in OAuth 2.0 gets expired every 60 seconds, 60 minutes. And if we have to prolong the access to that particular server or the particular protected resource, we have to make sure we are generating a new access token every 60 seconds. So in case if our access token is getting compromised at any given point of time, we we have the maximum protection that the data will not be compromised for more than 60 minutes. I'm sorry, I said 60 seconds. It's not 60 seconds. It is 60 minutes. I'm really sorry if I mentioned it as 60 seconds. So the access token gets expired every 60 minutes. So we have to make sure that we are generating a new access token from the refresh token provided to us every 60 minutes to continue the access to the protected resource. Okay, so that these are the features of OAuth 2.0. Let us get to a few terminologies of OAuth token 2.0. The first one is the protected resource. The protected resource is the resource which is available in the server or the data which is being handled by the resource owner, which is being accessed by the client. For example, let us take an example of makeMyTrip.com and Indigo flights. The flight details and the ticket fare details of Indigo are maintained in Indigo server, which are being accessed via API using the MakeMyTrip.com application. So here, the data of Indigo flights, which is residing in Indigo server, will be the protected resource, and MakeMyTrip.com application, which is trying to access the protected resource, will be the client. The owner who owns the protected resource will be the resource owner, and the server in which the protected resource is available will be the resource server. So here comes the client. The client is the application or any endpoint which is trying to access the protected resource. We have a client ID and client secret, and these are the identification codes which we are using to understand the access method. There's an authentication code. The authentication code is the code which is determining or where we are defining the scopes which can be performed using that particular endpoint. And then comes the authentication server. The authentication server is the server which validates the application's request. The authentication server understands whether the client ID and client secret are valid. If the client which is trying to access that resource is allowed to do the operation which is trying to do. So, for example, if we have given the scope of reading a ticket, and if the client is trying to create a ticket, the authentication server understands and stops it then and there. So those actions are being done by authentication server. Then we have access token, refresh token, and code. Access token is a token which is used while we are performing certain action, performing any action on the protected resource. So this access token has a validity of 60 minutes, and after 60 minutes it gets expired. So if we are opening a protected resource to a client for a limited period of time, which is less than 60 minutes, we can simply give the access token to the client. But if we are exposing our application or protected resource to the clients for duration more than 60 minutes, we have to give them a refresh token, and the client have to use the refresh token to get new access tokens. And using the new access token, they can go ahead and access the protected resource. And the code is generated by the resource owner or the resource server, which determines or defines the scope which can scope of operation which can be done by the protected or done by the client on the protected resource. So let me show you a small flow chart. This is how normally the OAuth 2.0 works. So first there will be a resource owner who will be providing credentials to the client's application. So they will be provided with the client ID, client secret, client secret, access token, and refresh token. So the client again uses the client ID and client secret, approaches the authentication server to get the authentication code for access and refresh token. So while we are doing that, we will be defining the scope of operation which can be done by the client on the protected resource, and the authentication server sends back a code to the client, and using the code, the client again approaches the authentication server for access and refresh token. So the authentication server validates the code and sends the refresh token and access token to the client. And using this refresh and access token, the client approaches the resource server. The resource server validates the request, and based on the access and refresh token, the resource server allows the client to perform the operations on the protected resource. So this is how the OAuth 2.0 works, and the steps which are required for implementation of OAuth 2.0 are the following. First, we have to register a client, then we have to make an authorization request, followed by generation of tokens. We have to generate the access token, and this access token will be provided along with the refresh token. If we want to expose the if we want to export the protected resource for a longer duration, we have to use the refresh token to uh, we have to use the refresh token to generate new access tokens. And if the process is completed, if we feel the protected resource is no longer supposed to be exposed to the client or exposed to anyone, we can go and revoke the access to that refresh token. So let us take a look at the examples of how we can do this. So let us start with a desk. So here we can see this is the section, or this is the server where we are going to create a ticket. So let us go ahead and start registering a client over here. For that, we have to go to API console. apiconsole.zoho.com. So this is the place where we'll be creating a client if we are trying to use the Zoho server. Every application has its own authentication console system, and we have to go and register a client over there. Let me go and add a client. Going to be a server-based application. Let me give the client name as desk integration. The homepage URL, let me give a secured URL. So this homepage URL should be a HTTP. Yes, it should be a secured URL, and if it's not a secured URL, it won't allow us to work on it. And let us give a redirect URL as well. Let me create it. Once I create this client, I'll be provided with a client ID and client secret. And we have to use this client ID and client secret to generate the code, followed by access and refresh token. We have to make sure that this client ID and client secret is not compromised at any given point of time. If this is compromised, they can go ahead and generate the codes on their own. So let us go to the next step of generating the code or authentication. We have registered the client. So this is the step which we did. We have registered the client. We have registered a HTTP client. Now let us go for the authorization request. So here we can see we have to do a get request. So I'm going to copy this base URL, and I'm going to pass on all the parameters in the URL itself. So let me get the base URL, which is https accounts.zoho.com/OAuth/v2. So while we are using the base URL, we have to make sure we are understanding one thing. The base URL .com belongs to the applications which are available in US data centers. In case our application is available in a different data center, we have to use that appropriate extension. For example, I'll show you how you can get this data center easily. Let us get into any creator application. So here we can see this is a hostel management application which I have built, and the URL we can see it is creatorapp.zoho.com. So if it is .com, it is creator DC. If it's Indian DC, it will be creatorapp.zoho.in. European, it is EU. China, it is CN. Australia, it is EAU, and uh, I think there will be respective data centers as well. These are the ones which are coming top on top of my mind. So you have to use the appropriate extension over here based on your data center. The data center in which the protected resource is there. So in my case, the desk is available in under this account ZCPPPOC, which is available in US data center. So that is why I'm using the .com extension as it is. If you are in an Indian data center or any other data center, please use that extension. Let me copy this and paste it over. As we said, the code has to be generated by the resource server. So since I'm using Mac, I'm switching between sessions. So this is a different session and this is a different session. So we have to make sure if, we are generating the code using the appropriate session. So the next one we are supposed to pass on is the query parameters. The response type has been passed as code. Let me just paste it as it is. The next one is the client ID. Let me just copy the key and the value we will get it from the client ID which we generated. Here's the client ID. And the next one is the scope. The scope is the one which determines the actions which can be performed by that particular client. So this scope can be obtained from the documentation. This link to this documentation will be shared to you by our co-trainers. Let me come down. Here we can see under tickets, I'm going to create a ticket. So the scope which is required for me to create a ticket will be displayed here. The scope for creating a ticket is this.tickets.create. So in case I want to add multiple scopes, let me copy this. If I want to add multiple scopes over here, I need this client also to read the created tickets. I can simply go and get the ticket, get a ticket, and the scope for that is desk.create, desk.tickets.read. Let me copy that, get into the get request, use a comma and paste as many scopes I want. So we have to make sure that we are using the appropriate scopes over here, because once we generate the code, the entire the client can do only the operations which has been defined in this scope. So after generating the code, we cannot come back and generate or add the scope to delete the ticket to this particular code. We have to go through the entire process and generate a new code and followed by new access and refresh token. So we have to make sure we are providing the proper scopes over here. And the next one followed by the scope is going to be the making out request. It's followed by it's going to be the redirect URI. The redirect URI is the URL which we gave while we created the connection. Here we can see under client details we have the redirect URI, and as I said, it should be a secure URL. Let me get that, copy it, and so the last parameter which we are going to pass is the request type. So there are two kinds of request type over here. One is online, another one is offline. If the request type is offline, the system will provide us with both access and refresh token. If we are saying the request type is to be online, we'll be given only the access token, not the refresh token. So let me get that. Here's the access type. Let me copy this. And by default, the access type will be online. which means we will be getting only the access token. If we want the refresh token, we have to go ahead and mention the access type to be offline. So let me go ahead and say access type equal to offline. So I hit enter. The system asks me whether I wanna allow this particular client to read all the tickets and create a ticket. So if the moment I hit on accept, right? So I'll be generated with a new code, and the code will be visible in the URL, and this code has a validity of 60 seconds. 60 seconds, okay, or one time of try. So whichever comes earlier, the code gets expired. So we'll be stopping here. This step will be stopping here. We'll be making the setup for the next step, the step 3, which is to get the access token. Because once we get the access token, we also have the refresh token in our hand, and using the refresh token we can generate n number of access tokens. uh, so let us go configure the step 3, then come back and generate this code. All we have to do is to click on accept, and the code will be visible over here. Let me stop here in step 2, go do the step 3 and come back. So let me get into the creator side. So this is the application from where we are going to create a ticket, right? So let me get into the functions, create a new function, and this function will be focused on getting the access token. So let me say access token, and it's going to return as a string. Let me create a function. Let me zoom in. So to generate the access token, there is the third step. We have to make a post request. So these are the parameters or the options which we are supposed to pass to this step, and this step will be providing us with a response like this. We'll be getting access token, refresh token, token type, and the time in which it expires. Let me go ahead and create it. Let me copy the base URL first. And again, while we are using the base URL, we have to make sure that we are using the URL of the appropriate data centers. I'm using .com because both my accounts are in US data centers. If your protected resource is in a different data center, please use that extension over here. Let me get into this, and let's say base URL is equal to this URL, and then comes the map, body map, and we are going to pass these values as parameters. So we have two options. Either we can pass the entire API in the form of query. I can just simply put question mark and pass everything on, or I can construct a map, pass these values as key value pass, and then pass that map as a parameter to the post URL. So let us go and do the second one. We have created a sorry, body map dot put. So it is, the name is bmap. I'm just saying body map because we are going to pass this map as a body to the post URL. Okay, so it is a variable name. It's just a simple map. It's not a body map. Okay, it's just bmap. I'm just for the communication purpose, I'm saying it as body map. So body map dot put, the key is going to be code, and the value is, we are going to leave it empty for now. This is the code which we are going to generate over here. The moment I click on accept, I'll be given a code. I'm going to copy it and paste it over here. The moment I paste it, I'll be given with the access and refresh token. Using that access and refresh token, we'll be continuing the process. Okay, so the next one which we are going to pass is body map dot put. The next key is going to be grant type, and the grant type is going to be authorization code. This is a static value, and next comes the client ID. And this client ID, we are going to copy it from the console. Let me copy the client ID over here. And next comes the client secret. This client secret again is going to be copied from the connection. And the last one is going to be redirect URI. The redirect URI is the URI which we generate, which we use to generate the connection. Let me copy that URI. So now we are supposed to make a post request. So let us say s equal to post URL. The base URL is going to be base URL. And the body map is equal to body map. Return response. Save it. Now let us go and generate that code. Here you can see, we can go and click on accept. The moment I click on accept, the URL is giving me the code. Here you can see I'm copying the code from the URL, and this code will be passed on as a parameter to that body. Let me paste the code over here, save and execute. You can see, let me copy this and I keep it over here and get into JSON beautifier. Here we can see we have been provided with the access token, reference token, the API domain, token type, and the expires in. The expires in is 3600. The access token gets expired in 3600 minutes. So that is what it is saying. So from here, what we can do, so now we have the access token and the reference token. So even with this access token, we can go ahead and start creating our ticket. Okay, we don't. It's not mandated that we have to have the reference token, but I'll also show you how you can refresh and generate a new access token. Okay, so for this, as we discussed, the code's validity is only one try. The first try we got the refresh and access token. Now we are going to use the refresh token and generate new access tokens. So let me remove this response. Let us comment out the previous steps. The base URL will be the same because we are going to use the same. Here you can see from the documentation, it is going to refresh the access token, and so the base URL is going to be the same. Is accounts.zoho.com OAuth v2 token. Here you can see accounts.zoho.com OAuth v2 token, and the parameters which we are going to pass over here gets changed. So let us go and create a new body map. So let us say reference token RP map equal to map. So the parameters which I'm going to pass on to RP map are RP map.put. The first parameter which I'm going to pass is the refresh token. This refresh token is the token which we got from the previous case. Here we can see here we have the refresh token, right? So I'm going to copy this refresh token. Let me copy the refresh token on a whole. And the next parameter which we are going to pass is the client ID, followed by client secret, scope, redirect URI, and grant type. So let me get to the client ID. What we have the root. Going to be the client ID, followed by the client secret followed by the scope rt map dot put is going to be scope, and then comes the redirect URI, and then comes grant type. The grant type is always a refresh token, and it is a static one. So let me copy it from here. And for this demo, we are going to create tickets in Zoho Desk. So the scope is going to be desk dot tickets dot create. So let me get the scope desk dot tickets dot create. If you want multiple scopes, we can go ahead and add all those scopes in a form of comma separative manner. So I'm adding only one scope over here. Or if you want more scopes, we can just go and add all the scopes. Let me add this scope as well. And then comes the client ID, client secret, redirect URI. These can be obtained from the connection. Since I copied all those things in the previous step, let me get it from here. This is the client ID, and this is the client secret, followed by the redirect URI. Now let us do one more post request. So let us say rest equal to post URL of base URL body map. Sorry, RT map. So let me zoom out. There's okay. We have not given the semicolons over here. Okay, so execute it. I have been provided with a new access token. Let me just get. I want only the access token. So let me go ahead and do a get JSON response dot get JSON. Execute. We can see I've been provided only with the access token, and using this access token, I can go ahead and create tickets in Zoho Desk. Now let us go and create a ticket in Zoho Desk. So we'll continue from here itself. We'll take the necessary parameters in this custom function itself and go ahead and create the tickets. So let me get over here to create a ticket. So these are the this is the base URL. I have to pass the authorization as header, and I have to pass all the values which I'm going to pass on to the ticket in the body. So let us go ahead and create. So this is the base URL. So let me go ahead and create ticket base URL equal to. So we have the tickets base URL, and then we have to pass the header. So let me create a header map. Hmap equal to map hmap dot put. The first one we are going to pass on is the org ID. So we saw how we can get the org ID, right? So we have to get into the tickets settings. Under settings, we have the API, and then we have the org ID. Let me copy the org ID over here. The org ID will be the value. The key will be org ID. Let me copy the key. Hmap.put. The next key value which I'm going to pass is authorization. Let me just copy this authorization. and the value is going to be Zoho Earth token space plus this response dot get JSON. Let us pass this to value. So let us say refresh token plus refresh token. So we are getting the refresh token from this step, and using that refresh token, we are constructing the header map, and let us construct the body map here. Body map equal to map body map dot put. The field name is going to be so let us get into a ticket and find out the mandatory fields. Let's get into tickets. Sorry, getting into tickets. Give it a second, it is getting loaded. So let me open a ticket. So let me go ahead and edit a ticket. So here you can see the mandatory fields are contact name, subject, status. So these are the same parameters which we passed on in our earlier example as well. Here we can see while we integrated Zoho Creator with Zoho Sites, we use the same parameters. So let us go ahead and start doing that. The first one we are going to pass is the contact ID, and we'll get the contact ID in a moment. And let us go ahead and say body map dot put. The next we are going to pass the department ID. So this link to this document will be shared to you via chat. Okay, so you can access that and follow the process. The next parameter will be the subject. Subject. And the next parameter will be the priority. And the next parameter will be status. So the contact ID we'll get it from our desk. Let us get into customers, from where we can choose any one of the customers. So let me choose Benedita. The contact ID will be displayed on the URL. Most of the IDs will be displayed in the URL. We can just go ahead and click on that particular entity. So let me copy the contact ID over here. And then comes the department ID. Let us get into settings, departments. The department, once I get into create a POC, I have the department ID over here. Let me copy that. Then it is followed by the subject. Let us go ahead and say this is V2 API example for E2E learning series. The priority, we'll put the priority as high. And the status is going to be open. So now we have our body map. So there's we have to provide the return. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the return. Return an empty string over here. So now we are supposed to make a post request. Let me zoom in. Sorry. Let's save it. Okay. Let me zoom in here. Now let us go ahead and make a post request. The response is equal to post URL of ticket base URL. And it is followed by the header map. It is followed by the body map. So info response, save it. There's no issue. So let me execute it. Let me close the body map. Let me give it as to string. So sometimes what happens is the body map gets accessed, as a query rather than the data which is getting transferred. Okay, body map and then the header map. Uh, this URL, body map, header map. We save and execute. So here we can see we have got the success message. So it is giving me the ticket details. Let me get into the tickets now. So coming to the tickets, we can see we have successfully created a ticket in a different account. This account is not in the same mail ID. I can show you. This mail ID is in zcpppoc at gmail.com, and the application from where we executed the custom function, uh, it is under surendra.sr+t0@zohotest.com. So this is how we can initiate, or we can transfer, or perform certain operations in one server from a different one. So the we can provide the access and refresh token to the client, and using the refresh token, the client can generate new access tokens and continue performing the actions. So this is about V2. So now let us take a quick look at certain third-party APIs which we can integrate with Zoho Creator. So for this, so we know Zoho Creator can easily get integrated to any endpoint which is having the REST API publicly exposed. Okay, so it doesn't have to be uh, it doesn't have to be a special or any specific endpoints. Creator by default it gets integrated itself to any API endpoint which is publicly available, and and there's one more thing. All the components of Creator are having a dynamic API endpoint associated to it. For example, if we are creating a form, that form will have a API endpoint dynamically associated to it. So you can refer to that dynamicity of the components REST API from the Zoho Creators V2 API documentation. Our co-trainers will be sharing that documentation as well to you via chat. So if you can take a look at the creators V2 API documentation, we can understand uh, by default every component of creator will have a API endpoint associated to it. Okay, so using those endpoints, like how we establish the integration task, we can either create inbuilt integration, or we can also perform a V2 API and enable the data flow between systems. Now, we are going to take a look at the systems which are not related to Zoho's ecosystem. What if they are in an entirely different environment? So let us say we'll be taking the example of a few APIs in today's session. The first API will be rates API, which will have no authentication associated to it. The API will be, let's say, the API will be public, and no restrictions will be applied on the usage of that API. And the next one will be a distance matrix API, which is provided by Google. This distance matrix API has an authentication system associated to it, and Google will be tracking the usage of this API using that authentication system. Then I'll be also showing a new example, which is mutual fund API, which is going to return as the value in the form of collection. and how we can parse the output of the API and get the desired data. So let us start with the RAID API. The RAID API is a base API. It's a public API which have no restriction on its usage, or we can use this API as much as required. The reason there is no authentication is because the data which is being handled, or the data which is accessed, is not of any confidential nature, or it's not containing any proprietary data. So this MF API, right? So this API provides us with the NAV values of any mutual fund which is available in the market. So let me get a mutual fund. Let me say uh, the LNP business cycle. Okay, I get any one of the API. So this is the API endpoint. All I have to do is to make a GET request to this. Let me make a GET request. So here we can see this MF API is providing me with all the NAVs date wise. Here we can see the dates are being arranged in a sequential manner, and the output has been passed on as a list. So now let us understand how we can use this and get the data. Okay, and getting over here, let me create a new function over here. We call it as mutual fund MF API, and we put the default namespace. Let's go ahead and say base URL and we create an empty map. So while we are making a post URL, right? So it's mandatory that we have to pass a body map. So let us create an empty map and pass it as a value. So let us say, I'm sorry, we are supposed to make a get request. So the get request, I don't think it requires a body map. Let me try. Response is equal to get URL of this URL info response. But execute, there we can see we are getting all the values. So we need the NAV alone, right? So let us say I need all the date values which are inside the data. Let me close and get JSON of save and exit dot date down. Sorry, it's JSON. Saving and executing, it is giving me all the NAVs in date format. So earlier, so this is how we can use open API. Okay, so this API is not having any authentication. No one is tracking the number of usage of this API. Okay, so here's the next question. So here you can see in the output, all the key values are in the same key. I'm having date in everything and NAV in everything. So if I say dot get JSON of date, we will not be able to get the desired one. What if I want to get the 21? So earlier, the entire output of the API call was being handled as a string. Now Deluge has the option to handle the API output in the form of object. We can simply parse this and get the data. So dot get index of uh, get element by index. Just give me a second. Take the element by index in Deluge. So okay, it's giving me the get. So let me get over here. Dot get of let's say 2. So now this is going to provide me with the NAV value which is 2 days prior. Now it is giving me the NAV date of 21/12/2011. If I am not giving it, it will be providing me with the NAV of the whole system. You can see the NAV starts from 23, 22, and 21. Since I said get of 2, the list is giving me the element, or the list is populating me with the element of index 2. So that is how we can use our open API and iterate through the response. So earlier it was considered simply as a string, but now we have the object option to parse through the output and get the desired result. Let us take a look at an example for authentication based API. So the example which I am going to use for this is distance matrix API. Here we can see this is a distance matrix API. Let me post this URL in chat for your reference. Uh, So this is the URL or reference document for Google's distance matrix API. So this API is used to find the distance between two given points and the time taken to reach from one point to another on traffic. Okay. So let me show you the API in the deluge. Here we can see the base URL is max.aps.com distance matrix, and we are getting the output in the form of JSON, and we are passing the origin as a input. We are getting the origin and destination as parameters to this, sorry, as arguments to this function. Origin has been passed in dynamically and destination has been passed in dynamically. At the end, we can see the value key. So this key is the API key which has been provided to the developers by Google. This API key will be unique for all developers. So if I am a developer and I am developing a function or I am developing an application which is intended to find the distance between 2 points, I'll be getting this API key from Google. So it will be common across all my users. But if I'm building multiple applications, I have to use this API key to identify that this API is being used by me or my users. And Google will be tracking the use of this API and charging me based on the usage. So all these process, and for securing security reasons, we'll be using this API key. So this API key can be obtained from the console, Google's developer console. So what I have done is I have just taken the API key and passed origin and destination dynamically, and I have constructed an empty map. So since we said we are making a post request, it's mandated that we are supposed to pass a map, and I'm passing all the values as query parameters. Even in the last time when we generated the refresh token, I said we have two options: either we can pass all the values as query parameters in the URL, or we can take the base URL, create a map which is having the key value pairs of the query parameters, and then pass it as a value to the post URL. Okay, so in the last case, we constructed a new map and we passed it as a body map to the post URL. In our case, we have passed all the details as a query parameter in the base URL and passing a empty map in body. So from this output, we are getting the desired details. So let me show this info X. So if I execute, it is going to ask me 2 points. Let's say Chennai and Mumbai. We submit it. Here we can see I have been provided with the entire JSON. Let me just zoom out and copy it. Getting into JSON beautifier. Let me beautify it. Here we can see the destination address is given as Mumbai, origin is Chennai, and the elements. So the value distance is available within the keys. rows. Inside rows we have elements. Inside elements we have distance, and inside distance we have text. So this is what I have done here. Done a get JSON method. So you can see to get the distance, I have got the values inside the JSON rows. Inside JSON we have elements, and inside elements we have distance, and inside distance we have text. And the same has been done for duration, and the output distance and duration has been concatenated into a single string. Here you can see I'm returning the distance between the origin and destination is, and the time taken to cover the distances. So now this function has been called here. I can see. Let me get into the form. Distance matrix. The moment I say origin, the origin is going to be Chennai, and the destination is Mumbai. And the moment I give the origin and destination, I have been given the distance between both the points. The distance between Chennai and Mumbai is 1335 km, and the time taken to cover the distance is 22 hours and 5 minutes. So this is how we can use an authentication based API along with unauthorized API. So any system which is having a REST API endpoint associated to it can be easily integrated with Zoho Creator. And even in some cases where the system is not having a REST API endpoint associated to it, we can write an external middleware using any programming languages like Python, Java, or .NET, and then expose the REST API endpoints using those middleware, and then integrate it with Zoho Creator. So integration with any kind of system is possible while we are using Zoho Creator. A Zoho Creator is custom solutions application. So now we are going to discuss about the next important feature of Zoho Creator, which is JavaScript widgets. So the JS widgets is like a next level of UI customization which can be done in Zoho Creator. So up until this point, we would have interacted with Zoho Creator using the forms and reports, and these UI are by default provided by Zoho Creator framework. We have limited control over the UI which has been provided in the framework. So there are many often situations where the companies or clients wants to build their own UI. They want more customized UI for their organization and their application. In that case, the developers can certainly go for JavaScript widget. So this JavaScript widget is it's an application which is built using JavaScript, and it is used in the pages component. It's not used in form or report. The UI of form or report cannot be changed to beyond a certain extent. But the pages has given us the option to build use JavaScript widget, which we can use to build custom widgets and host it in Zoho Creator sites. So let us get started with the understanding of widgets. Widgets are used to extend the capability of creator. There are a lot of services which are providing their services in the form of JavaScript widget, and using those services, we will have the option to extend Zoho Creator's capabilities. So these are easily plug and play features which are provided by the services. We'll be taking a look at a few samples which are available openly on market, and we'll be also taking a look at sample widget which has been built by Zoho Creators team. The link to the Zoho Creators JavaScript widget sample will be shared to you via chat by our co-trainers. In that, you will be having an option to download the JS widget. Let me show you the sample JS widget. Then we'll continue with how the JS widget is built and what are the steps which are being followed. So this is a sample widget which has been built by Zoho Creator team, and this link to this JS widget will be shared to you by our co-trainers. you can see the entire actions of this of a particular application can be handled in this JavaScript widget. We can add records to a form. We can give the form's link name. We can pass the data in the form of collection, and the collection creates a record in the form. So although people are interacting with creator form, the UI through which they are interacting with is highly customized based on the requirement. So we can do all the operations like add record, update record, getting the records, getting a specific record using ID, delete a record, upload a file, download image. So all these options can be done using the JS widget and the JS SDK, which has been built by Zoho Creator team. So let us take a look at how we can how we can download this JS widget and how we can install the same in Zoho Creator server. So let me get into Google. And okay, so here if we go and search Zoho Creator sample JS widget, Zoho Creator sample JS widget. So here the first thing we'll be getting is the sample widget. If we go here, we'll be having the option sample widget playground. Here we'll be having an option to download a file. If you click on the zip file, will be provided with the zip. So here you can see the app test2.zip is the zip file which will be downloaded. So once that is downloaded, we have to get into our creator application, go to settings. Under developer tools, we have this option called widgets. You have to click on widgets, go and create a new widget. First, we have to give the name of the widget. So let us give the name be sample one, and we have to upload the zip file which we got. So it is apptest2.zip. And the next comes the index file. The index file is a HTML file in which we have referenced all the codes. For example, if I am creating a widget and the HTML file where I am referencing all the codes and scripts is widget.html, we have to give /widget.html. But in this case, we can see the HTML file is index.html. Here we can see inside apptest2, we have the index.html file. So we are going to reference the index file to index.html /index.html, and we can go ahead and create it. So while we are talking about the JS widget, there are two kinds of hosting. One is internal hosting and another one is external hosting. So coming to internal hosting, so we are building the application, we are completing it, and we are just hosting that in Zoho Creator server. So the entire system is availed in Zoho Creator. So that is internal hosting. But what if I want to check my widget while I'm developing it, or in course of development before even uploading it to Zoho Creator, I want to know how my widget is interacting with the various components of Creator. Let it be a page or let it be a report or form. How can I understand that? In that case, I can go for external. So while I'm giving the external, I have to give the index file along with the IP address and port number of the local server, which will be initiated. Okay. So now let us go with the internal. So we have apptest2, and let me give the index file index.html, and let us create. So now we have got the we have got the widget sample one. So get into a page, any page where we want the sample to be implemented. We can get into the page JS. You can create any other page and get into it. So opening the page builder, we have the option called widgets. Get into widget, we'll be seeing all the widgets which are listed in that site. since I have added sample already to the page, it is not giving me the option to add the same one more time. Since I have added sample one, I can just drag it and drop it, and it's done. We get a working widget right over here. Let me delete this. So the all the codes and snippets related to this widget can be downloaded from this link. Once you get this zip file, you'll have access to all the codes, styling, CSS, images, everything. You'll have access to, so you can use that as a reference. So there are a lot of services which are providing their endpoints in the form of JavaScript widget. So few examples are Salesforce. So here we can see, sorry, Sales IQ. So Creator Sales IQ application is providing us with a JS widget. All we have to do is to copy the script and paste it within the body tag. And once we do that, the Sales IQ bot will be enabled in our JS widget. Okay. So here is a example where I have enabled the JS, enabled the Sales IQ chatbot. So here we can see in Creator's official documentation, we'll be able to have the same. So if we want to use the same with Zoho Creator as Zoho Creators pages as well, we can go ahead and embed that widget. And so there's one more concept called domain whitelisting while we are getting this widget. By default, all the communication to the external servers will be blocked by the creator server. Okay, even if we are getting the API or even if we are getting the JS widget from Sales IQ, and if I paste that inside the body tag, here you can see this is a sample widget which I have taken. This is a trading widget. So this is the widget I'm showing the demo to. Here we can see this is a stock market analysis widget which I have taken from tradingview.com. So you can see there's a rolling band and there's a ticker chart which is present. So the entire code is available here. Let me post the links in chat. Even if I'm getting this widget and even if I'm getting this widget and I'm adding the same to my page, it wouldn't work immediately. The next step which we have to do is to whitelist the domain. The reason why we didn't have to do that in here is because all the operations are done within Creator Server. This widget is not interacting with any domain which is outside Creator's domain. But in case of the sales IQ, we are getting the data to and fro from to the sales IQ, and even in case of the stock trader, we are sending or we are getting the data from TradingView. So to enable that, what we have to do is we have to get the widget. So once I click on get widget, you can see I've been given with the embed code. All I have to do is to copy the entire embed code and paste it within the body tag of the widget. Here you can see I have the body tag and the entire widget have been pasted inside the body tag. Okay, I can paste multiple widgets as well. Here you can see I have pasted two widgets. One widget ends here and the next one begins. The first one is the rolling band widget and the second one is the ticker chart widget. So after doing this, I have to make sure I'm whitelisting all the domains or all the source from which the data is being pulled. So for that, what I have to do is I have to get into the plugin manifest.json. Here we can see in plugin manifest.json by default there will be no uh, domains whitelisted. So we have to get into the plugin manifest.json. This is the plugin manifest.json. For the service will be creator and the CPS domains and connect source will be empty while we are coming there for the first time. So we have to go and whitelist all the domains which we want to whitelist. So for example, here I am saying start@tradingview.com. So if I want to whitelist one particular domain. So, for example, I'll say creator.zoho.com, which means all the data transfer from creator.zoho.com will be whitelisted in that particular widget. The same, if I say star.zoho.com, any URL with the extension .zoho.com will be given access to that particular domain. Sorry, it will be whitelisted in this widget. So that is what I have done here. After star.tradingview.com, since the widgets are drawing data from two different sources in the tradingview.com, I have given star.tradingview.com and whitelisted it. So this star.zoho.com is there just to show you an example. So after whitelisting it, we have to pack this widget and then we have to install that in Zoho Creator Server. So this is the final output once I have added all the once I have whitelisted the domains and I have added the widgets to my page. So this JS widget requires a special tool, JS Widget Builder, which is a CLI-based tool built by Zoho. And in the documentation of Zoho Creator sample widget itself, we'll be having the option, we'll be having the documents to install the command line interface and how we can, what are the prerequisites and how we can use the command line interface to build JS widget. So the prerequisites are we need Node and npm. If we have the Node and npm latest version installed on our system, we can run the following command. So we are installing Zoho extension toolkit. So that will be referred as Z in the upcoming commands. So after installing the Zoho extension toolkit, we'll be initiating the Zoho extension toolkit Z, and getting into Z, we'll be going for Zoho Creator. Let me show you that real time terminal. So I have already installed that Zoho extension toolkit. So let me say Z, and I can. It's asking me whether it wants me to initiate the server or it wants me to run validate or pack. So let me say Z init. So it is going to ask me to which service I want to initiate the server. I'm going to say I want to initiate it for Zoho Creator. The moment I say Z initiate it for Zoho Creator, it is going to ask me for the project name. So in whichever folder you are initiating the server is where the project name is project folder is going to get initiated. So here we can see I am in Surendra 9568, which is the root folder. So if I give the project name, I'll be given the root folder in the I'll be given the project folder in the root. So if I want to get it in the desktop, first I have to navigate to the desktop and then give the folder. So let me just navigate it, see this desktop, and now let me just init, Z init, and I'm going to create for creator, and the project name is E2E. So it is by the system automatically creates a folder for me. Let me close it. Here we can see I have a system. I have a folder which is Z init, and all the required or the dependency files will be in that folder. So once I'm done with all the system, okay. So once I have completed the build of the application, so I can go and say Z validate. Okay, cd Z validate. So there's no validation rules or there's no validation error. In case there is a validation error, we have to go and change, make sure that we are fixing it. So getting into here, we can see the plugin manifest.json. So this is where we'll be whitelisting all the required domains. So let me open it with Sublime Text. Here we can see the content, the connect source is empty. So if I had to whitelist zoho.com, so I have to say star.zoho.com. and this whitelist the entire Zoho.com domain. And once everything is done, save it. Once everything is done, we have to pack. So it is set pack. So the packing is done successfully. If we go to the folder E2E, here we can see there's a new folder called dist, which has been created, inside which we'll be having the zip file. This is the zip file which we are going to use, or this is the zip file which we are going to upload to the creator application to install the JS widget. So this JS widget has the option to get external sources as well. So we can get our CSS from external JS and external links, and that gives us more control and more interaction with the users in a different way. So this is the JS widget, and there is an option called Z run. So we discussed about the external hosting of the widget, right? So the external hosting, we have to initiate a local server, and we have to pass the public IP of the machine along with the port and the local server to access the creator form, and we can see in real time how our widget is interacting with the creator application. Is there any issues which is available, rather than uploading the zip file every time into the system and checking it out. So that is about the JavaScript widget. And coming to the page customization, apart from JS widget, we also have two different modes of customization. One is HTML snippet, another one is ZML snippet. So let me take you to the HTML snippet. Let me edit the application. So the HTML snippet is the general snippet, general HTML and inline CSS which we use to build the UI. So this is a sample HTML snippet which we have built. Let me take you to a different one. So this is a sample HTML snippet which we have built using built-in Zoho Creator. So here, this is a employee management application where the doctor can just log into his system. He can see all the appointments which are available, and the appointments which are there for him on that particular day. So let me just change the appointment history, and let me edit it to date. Let me edit the date to 7. Apply. So here we can see right now there is no appointments showing because the appointments has elapsed. Since I create a new appointments for the day, the moment the doctor comes and visits this page, the doctor will be able to see all the appointments which is there for that particular patient, and the dashboard is continuously interactive. So this gives there's a option to view all the status of the people who are reporting to this particular doctor, and in case the doctor wants to check the history of a particular patient, he can just click on that particular patient, and the entire history, the past history, the number of appointments which has been created, everything has been displayed in a HTML snippet. So here we can see, although we are getting all the data from creator form, the data appointments are being pulled from the all appointments, and the patient details are pulled from this form, patient details. So but while we are using, or while we are operating this HTML snippet, or while we are operating it from this page, we get a completely different UI which is visible to the user. So this can be achieved using HTML snippet. And while we are going for HTML snippet, the HTML snippet, we have to make sure that we are not using any external files or external links to access CSS. So let me get into the edit mode of the application. Getting into the pages, page builder. Here we can see there are two kinds of codings here. One is that HTML based, another one is deluge. So whatever functionalities which we are, whatever deluge script which we are writing, it has to be enclosed within this tag. So there is a less than bracket followed by a percentage, and we write the deluge script, and at the closing of the deluge script, we'll be giving the percentage and closing greater than bracket. So this is the deluge tag. Whichever value which we are enclosing within this tag is considered to be a deluge, and the rest of the things are being considered as the HTML snippets. So here we can see the entire styling is being done in inline CSS method. We are not calling the CSS from an external file. All the CSS are being written over here, and so while we are passing the values, so here we can see, here you can see we are passing the images from the creator background, and we are constructing it in the form of public URL, and then it is being passed. And coming to the loops, so here we are checking how many patients are there. We are writing. So here you can see this is a deluge section. Here we can see the condition has been written in deluge, and the value A is being passed to the HTML snippet. And while we are passing the value A to the HTML snippet, here you can see it will be enclosed within this tag. So there is a greater than less than symbol percentage equal to the variable which we are passing, and percentage and greater than symbol. So the deluge value which we are passing has been enclosed inside this tag, and the rest of the HTML is kept as it is. So here we can see we are not control. We are not. We are using the regular HTML tags while we are bringing in the HTML part. If we are writing a for loop, so here in this case we can see this is a for loop which has a HTML snippet in the mid. We are getting all the records from a particular form, and we are getting the file name, and this file name has been passed on to a HTML tag. Here we can see the deluge part has been closed here. The bracket for this for loop is again closed within a particular within this tag. So that is how we have to make sure whichever part is in deluge is getting enclosed within the deluge tag, and the rest of them are being enclosed within the appropriate HTML tag. And this section is responsible for displaying the patient repetition. So here we can see the today's appointment section, right? So that there are two appointments, so it is giving us two. If there are two or three or more than that, we'll be iterating through that particular for loop, and the value will be displayed over here. So this and so while we are using the HTML snippet, the one thing which we have to understand, or one thing we have to make sure that we are not calling the CSS from an external file or any external link to use here, because creator HTML snippet won't allow you to access the value from that. And coming to ZML snippet. So ZML stands for Zoho Markup Language. ZML is ZML is a language which has been designed by Zoho to bring out the nativity of the application in which we are building. For example, so if we are building a HTML snippet, if we are building a component in HTML snippet, the system resizes itself based on the device from which we are viewing it. But ZML is more focused on bringing out nativity of the application all over the devices, while the creator's HTML snippet is focused more on the web-based version of the creator. Okay, so that is the difference between HTML and ZML snippet. A documentation for the entire ZML will be shared to you in the chat by our co-trainers. ZML is a very clean UI design language, which is more focused on the nativity. So, which was a snippet which we are building using ZML. It don't just resizes itself; it rearranges or self-responses itself based on the screen from which it is viewed. So, let me show you. Let me take you to the ZML documentation. HTML documentation, and this documentation will be shared to you by our co-trainers, the chat. Here you can see we are building one single component, and the same component, when it is accessed by various screen sizes, it not only just resizes it, it self-responses it. Here we can see when it is accessed from web, it's accessed in a particular way. The same when it is accessed from the tablet or when it's accessed from the mobile, it responses itself to a different format. So that is what we call it as nativity of the application, and this can be achieved using ZML. So getting started with ZML is very easy, and it has a very limited number of tags in it. So let me get into that ZML examples. So this is where we can see the example of ZML where the entire system is being arranged in such a way that will be a panel row, panel column. So that is the sequence. So the panel will be the outer container inside which will be having panel rows and panel columns. The panel can have multiple panel rows, and each panel row can have multiple panel columns. And the panel columns again can have multiple panel rows associated. So let me take you to the create a page and show you a widget. Normally, most of the widgets which are built on the pages are done using Zoho Creator. For example, let me drag and drop a panel over here. I'm clicking and dragging and drop a panel. Here we can see we have the option called code. So this code is entirely built using ZML. Here we can see the panel being the outer container, and it is followed by a panel row, is followed by a panel column. And the panel column again is having its own set of panel rows and panel columns. So that is how the create ZML's structuring will be. There will be a panel which is the outer container followed by a panel row, panel column. If we want to add more elements to the panel column, again we can go for multiple panel rows and panel columns within it. So this widget is supposed to, let me get into the access mode. This is the structure of this widget. So that this widget is just displaying as a static value, and it is displaying with the text. So what if I want to add an image to this panel? I can simply go ahead, get into the design, and the same action which I'm doing via a design can be done achieved using the code as well. So I am adding an image over here. Let me refresh it. Here we can see there's an image. If we get into the code, we can notice that there is a set of panel rows and panel columns added within the panel. So this is the image, and here we can see the image is added within the panel column, which is inside a panel row. So that is how the structuring of ZML is. So the ZML has very limited number of tags. It has panel row, panel column. It has image tag. It has text tag. It has numbers, and it tags which are there are focused more on bringing a better UI and the nativity of the applications outside on the panels which are being built in Creator. So that is about the pages and widgets. And now let us take a look at the next component which is there in Zoho Creator, that is reports. So the reports are the So reports are the components which allow us to view the data which is residing inside the form. We all the reports or all the data which we are passing through the reports. Sorry, all the data which we are passing through the forms resides in the form, but we have to find out a way to view the data in the form. So that is where the report comes into the play. And the reports are not just to view the form; they can do a lot more functionalities over there. Let me take you through a small example and show you the types of reports available and what are the features which are available in reports and how we can customize them. So let me create a new application. Let's call this new application uh, report demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can what are the uses of report, what are the types of reports which are available, how we can do custom actions using report, and how we can do access control to the records based on the report. So let me create a new form. Let us call this as order management. And in this, what we can do is we can have a single line field. We can call it as order number, and let us go ahead and call email field. Okay, the email to the person who is going to access it, and let us also give the status, and let us also give a subform. Let us say order details, and let us add a field, single line field. We call it as item, and a number field we call it as quantity. So this is a basic form which we have created, and the moment I create a form, a list report is by default associated to that form. So here we can go and check all the details, all the data which is available inside the form. So there is no there's no detail available. Let's go and add a record. So let me say the order number be one, email be surendra.desa plus30.zohotest.com, and the status be, sorry, I didn't add status. Let me add it. Status be pending, accept. And we'll add one more field over here. So we call this email as next October. So let us go and reset it, adding a record. The first record we call surrender.sr and status be pending. Item details, item one and quantity be one, and let me submit it. So now what I have to do is I have to accept this order. Okay. And before we get into custom functions, let me show how the view works, how we can establish the data control, access control to the data. So let me add one more record over here, and this record will be having a different email address. So let the order number be 2, and the email address is surendra85@gmail.com, and the status being pending. And item quantity, item A, and the quantity be 10. Let me submit. Here we can see we have two records. One is having the email ID surendra85@gmail.com. Another one is surendra.sr@zohotest.com. So let us assume both these people are two different, and we have to provide them access to the view, access only to the records which are associated with them. So what we can do is we can simply go and set a filter over here. So let me create a new. So this report name, you can give the report name which you want. I have just given it as filter just to show that we are applying a filter over there. So we have the report filter, getting into report properties, adding a filter. I'm saying the condition email is equal to zoho.login login user ID. So I can save it. Now, if I refresh it, I'll be having the report filter. Now, if I get it over here, we can see I'm having access to only the records which are associated to me. So, if I'm logging with the other email ID, surendramanoj85 at gmail.com, I'll be having access to the order number 2. So how many of our orders which we are getting will be it will be tagged accordingly. So let's say order number 3, and it is again tagged to Surendra Manoj T0, and it is in pending state. So there's no item. So let us go and view. Here we can see now I have 2 records. So just by applying a filter, we can associate, or we can create a view where the users get a controlled access to the data. Okay, and these the actions which the users can perform can also be controlled using the users and permission sets, which we'll be discussing in the later part of this session. And so now this is about viewing the data, right? So now let us understand what are the types of reports available. Then we'll be moving to the actions which we can perform using the report. So while I'm creating a report, I'm getting 8 different forms of report. So one is list, pivot chart, pivot table, spreadsheet, Kanban, calendar, timeline, and map. So the list is the common type of report which we generally use, and this is by default linked to a form whenever we are creating a form. The pivot chart and pivot table are used to create analytics based on a particular form. And if we are trying to change the status, in this case, we can see we have to change the status from pending to approved or pending to rejected. So in those kinds of cases, we can simply go and create a Kanban. There is an option for calendar if we want to view all the orders based on a particular date or particular month. We can go for the calendar report. The same for timeline. If we want to view all the data based on geographic location, so let us say we have address field, we have the address of hundreds of our clients, and I want to see each and every one of my client in a map, and I can simply click on that. I can see the address. Those kind of actions can be done using the map. So let me show you a small example for the Kanban report. We selected from order management. So the Kanban report can be done based on the selection fields. Either it can be a radio button, it can be a drop down. Only based on the selection fields you can do the Kanban. So I'm giving the status and I'm say Kanban demo. So here I'm not setting any filters. I'm just getting into the Kanban report. Here you can see all the orders are in pending. I can just drag it and drop it into accepted. So the moment I drag it and drop it into accepted, we can see the status of the record gets changed. So that is about the Kanban, and each and every report is having its own set of functions. So now the next question. I want to execute a custom function while I'm clicking it. Okay. While I want to execute a custom function in a report, how can I do that? So the answer for that is custom action button. So let me get into here, zoom out. Let me get into the order. Okay, the order management, we have okay, so there are two different views. First we have to understand about that. There are two different views. One is the quick view and another one is the detailed view. Quick view is the view which we are seeing here. The moment we come into a record, there will be a group of there will be the entire set of records which is being displayed to us in the report. So that is a quick view. The detailed view is when we get into a single record and we want to know the entire details of that particular record. Okay, so that is about the detailed view. Okay. And each of these views can be customized separately, and there are multiple display options available for both quick view and detailed view as well. So, and actions pertaining to both can be done separately. So the quick view also have its own set of actions. We can add buttons and we can do other actions as well. And also in detailed view, we can go and configure a few set of actions. So let me configure a custom action in the quick view for rejection. So let me say reject. So if we are not setting any condition, the button will be enabled all the time. But if we are setting any condition, so I am saying the status is equal to pending. So only when the status is pending, I will be given the option to reject. So now if I click, if I go to action and delete script, and I'm just going to do a data access or update function. So let me fetch is equal to from the uh, order details order management form ID is equal to input dot ID. Fetch dot status is equal to rejected. I hope that is the value which I have given. Reject. And fetch dot next approver. So if I'm rejecting it, it is supposed to go to the next approver, and let us say the next approver be uh, Hemant. Hemant at gmail.com. So normally, if I'm approving, I don't have to get the approval from a next person. But if I'm rejecting it, I have to get the approval. So it will be sent for the next level of approval. So let me cancel and put it done. Create. Now we can see we have a custom action button created. So let me bring the custom action button into the view, getting into add fields, clicking on reject the order number. I am bringing the button in the top so that the button will be visible to me at the very beginning. I don't have to go and scroll all the way and do it. Here we can see, since we have set the condition that only when the status is pending, the button is supposed to be enabled. This one is in the accepted state, so the button is not enabled. So I'm clicking on reject. Here we can see the status has been updated as rejected, and the next approval is automatically given as hemant@gmail.com. So we can write multiple custom actions, and we can call those custom actions on click of this button. Okay, so that is one feature which is available, and we also have the option to create combined reports. So here we can see, as of now, whichever fields I have, everything is from from this form. What if I have a different form and I want to get get the data from that form as well? So let me create a new form, and we call it as details, and we add name, address, email, and phone number. So these are the four fields which are available. And what we are going to do is we are going to get a lookup, or we are going to establish a relationship between the details form and the order management form. So the order management, let me get over here. Getting into the lookup, I'm adding a lookup field here. To the details form, I'm getting the name. So we are displaying the name here, but when we come to the report, and configure the fields, now we have the option to add add all the fields which are available. So let me get into the order, configure for fields. add fields. So here we can see the details is the lookup which we established, and from the relationship we established, we have the option to get the details from the other report. The name, address, email, and phone, which is available in the details form, can also be added over here. These are called as combined forms. So we can establish this, or in case we are having a subform, existing form as a subform, uh, we have a lookup, either it can be bidirectional or unidirectional. In all the cases, we can establish a relationship, and that relationship can be used to create a combinational report. Here we can see. Let me go ahead and go ahead and fill detail, and then we can come and edit it. So detail, I'll add Shiva Gurunathan. Okay, so this is a dummy email address, dummy address, and that's an email and a phone number. Let me submit it over here. Coming to order management, let me assign this person to this particular order. So here are the details. Let me get Shivaguru and update. Here we can see along with the order details. Okay, the details of the person, Shivaguru, the name, address, email, everything are being displayed. And these fields, the name, address, and email, are not present in the form order management. These are being got from the form details. So that is how we can establish a combined report. And the reports can also be configured for mobile aspects as well. So we discussed while we were giving the intro to creator, we were discussed about the mobile-based access to or the mobile-based configurations like the gesture control, swipe, left swipe, right swipe, and all. So those can also be configured. For example, right now, if we get into actions, we have the options like while we are clicking a record for a single record. So if we are going and editing a single record over here. So this is the while we are editing a single record, if we are right clicking on a record, or if we are choosing multiple records, and these are the options which we are having. The same when we are getting into mobile version, the actions which we have are on tap of the record. So we are using the touch screen. So when we are tapping the record, and the same for the single record is that if you are long pressing a record, so there's tapping and there's a long pressing. We have also option for swipe left to right and right to left as, and for multiple purpose records as well, we have the option. So these gesture controls can be enabled in these reports, and these gesture controls will be specifically functional for the mobiles and mobile devices. And so we can also see the actions which can be done for a tab based display. And so coming to reports, the okay, so here we have the option. So right now we can see all the records are being displayed in a list format. What if I want them in a card format? I can simply go ahead and choose a card format, and the display will be changed to me in the card format. Here we can see. And if we want to create a custom card, so I can say no, I don't want to just view the use the cards which you have given. I want to create a custom layout for the card. We can go and create a custom layout. Either we can create it from scratch, or we can get a layout which is already a sample layout which is already created and start enhancing from it. So that is about the view of the report. And so with this, we have covered the pages and reports. And now I'm handing over the session to Abhi, where she'll be taking us through the user permissions and customer portals. And and how we can restrict the access to each and every components in Zoho Creator with the help of reports. So let me transfer the control to Abhi now. Abhi, I'm transferring the control to you.
Okay, now let's move on to the topic users and permissions. So within the creator system, we can add two types of user. So one is the organizational user, another is a portal user. So let's have a discussion about this. Who are all the organization users and who comes as a portal user? So coming to the organization user. So who the organization who holds the license for the Zoho creator account, they come under the organization user. So within an organization, there can be a sales manager, a group of purchase manager, accountant, technicians, and all those people, right? So those people, those employees would be given access to the Zoho creator account. So we call them as an organization user. So this organization would have their customers, suppliers, contractors in place, right? So this application, they would want to give access to their customers, suppliers, contractors, or any third-party users. So in this case, we call this customers, suppliers, contractors as a portal user. Okay. So organization users would also include the developer. Now, let me just get into the application and I'll show you how do we create the users, how do we create the organization users, how do we set permissions for them, how do we set the access level for them, and how do we create the portal users as well. Okay. So here I've gotten into the Zoho Creator account and I'm into an application. I'm navigating to the edit mode. Within the edit mode, you would be able to see design workflow and settings tab, right? Under this advanced settings, you have this user and control. So here under this users, you would be able to add the organization users and you can set permissions for them. Okay. So coming to the permissions part. Within this permissions, when I click on this add permission, it'll take me to the page where it'll display all the modules that are available within the application. And here you can see the different access levels like access, view, edit, delete, and more, right? So based on the users, you can set the permission level. Say, for example, I'm just creating a sample permission set for the manager. So this manager, I'm setting the permission name as manager, and this manager would have access to all the modules. So access, view, and he can edit the transaction, and he can delete the transaction. And he can as well import, export, view all, view modify. I'm just enabling this. So create a new report, read comments and write comments. So here beneath you can see the field level permission. When you click on that, it will take me to the page where for each module, it will display all the fields. So should it be visible to the user or it has to be in the read-only mode? You can decide that and you can set the field level permissions here. So this is applicable only to the organization users and not the portal users. That is the field level permission. Okay. So I'm just giving permission to a couple of modules. So delete access. So I'm saving. And here, once the permission is being set, here you would be able to see read and write. These are the default permission that is being created within the system automatically. And we've created a new permission as well. We have options to duplicate this permission set, and also we have options to delete the permission set. So when you go to user, you would have this admin by default. So the one who holds the creator account would be given this admin access, and I can add a new user to it, and I can set the permission level for them. We created a new permission set, or we can use the existing permission set, and we can assign it to the user. So developers would also be a part of the organization. So create forms, modules. They can assign roles and permissions. The admin would assign the roles and permissions. They can write the workflow logic, and they would have complete access to the system. Developers would have complete access to the system, and here you can share it to the developers. Here you have this user, customer, and developer. This comes as a customer or portal users, and this comes under the developer category. So when you click on this developer, you can add the developer to whom you wanted to give the complete access. And coming to the roles. So I'll go to the settings part again. So I'm getting into the roles. I'll just go to the presentation again, and I'll explain the roles part here. So here, you'll be able to see the roles hierarchy, allowing the data access based on the role. Here, on the top hierarchy, it would be the CEO, and under the CEO, there would be VP for sales and marketing, HR VP for engineering and finance. So these are director sales marketing. They all come under the VP sales and marketing. So this is how the hierarchy goes, right? And the director sales and director marketing would be called as a peer. Sales manager Europe would be called as a peer. And California sales, they all come under the same category. So this is the hierarchy that generally an organization would follow, right? So if it is a small organization, this role wouldn't play much of a role. But if it is a huge organization, we would have to bring in the roles and hierarchies, right? So let's see how we can add a role. So I'm just adding a role called vice president, who would come under the CEO. And I'm just adding share data with peers. When this is enabled, so whatever the transactions the vice president is creating, his peers will be able to see the transactions. They can view the transactions. I'm saving. Same as that, you can create multiple roles, and you can as well see the hierarchy. The sales manager, sales, share data with peers. So here on the top right corner, you have this hierarchy being set right. Just click on this hierarchy, and it will take you to the role hierarchy page. So what are the modules for which you have to set the role hierarchy? You can just enable this for all the modules if the organization is huge, and if you wanted to set the role hierarchy for each module that we create. You can as well add the record owner. So once this is set, when I create a user, I'm just creating a user. Here I can define the permission set. I can as well choose the role. Say, for example, if I'm choosing the role as sales manager. So dot.ag plus t90@zohotis.com. So I've chosen the permission set, I've chosen the role, and this will be notified via email. They'll get a notification, and from there they can have access to the system. Now, he would have access. We have set two modules. We have added two modules, point of sales and product. So when this particular user gets into the login, they will have access to both the modules. And when you get into this permission set, and when you're adding the permission, there is an option called API and security permission. So while creating a form, you would have seen the EPHI data and personally identifiable data, right? So you would have tagged that as, we had an option to tag the personal data and electronically protected health information, right? So you can set the access level and permission level for those data. So as a part of data privacy policy. So here, whether the API access can be enabled for this particular permission set or it should be disabled. You can choose the option here. And this personally identifiable information, when I click on this show, for example, if I have tagged any of the fields as personally identifiable information, then at the field level, the system would show if it is a personally identifiable information or if it is electronically protected health information. So I can set the visibility from here. So I have an application for which so clinical management system. I'll just open it quickly and I'll show you how this, when we are tagging the EPHI data and PIA data, how does it get reflected at the access level? I'm getting into the clinical management system. So within this, I have marked a few data as EPHI and PIA. So I'm getting into the permission set. So if I'm creating a new permission, within this patient's case details, when you get into field level permission, so I'm getting into this. Yeah, this consultation date, I've tagged it as PIA and EPHI. So it is showing it as PIA and EPHI, and you can set the visibility here for this particular permission set. So here there is an option to do the data sharing. I'm adding a role. So, for example, if a manager or a person is going on a long leave and he has to hand over the permissions, or he has to hand over the role to another employee, then how is it achieved? So that can be done through data sharing. So I just refresh the screen. I'm adding the rule here. So form, which form should I share it to another user? I'm choosing the form as patient's case detail, the role, and the subordinates. I'm choosing the roles and subordinates, and from which employee to which employee it has to get transferred to. So I'm choosing the role here. So what is the level of access that needs to be given to the employee that we are sharing the information with? For example, again, I'll get into the hierarchy. Here, the sales director is going on a long leave, and he's handing over all the responsibility to marketing director. So whoever comes under the sales director, uh, if the transactions are created, the director marketing would be able to see all the transactions when this data sharing is done. So along with roles and subordinates, I'm doing a transfer of roles and responsibilities to another employee. So that is the role of data sharing. So coming to the domain restriction, generally domain restriction would secure your application by restricting the user in the application. So any user who does not belong to the domain that is being added, they cannot be added to the system directly. Okay, so the domain needs to be verified before being added to the system. So this is about the users, and you can as well export the user list, and you can do the filtration, and you can export it using CSV, XLS, and TSV format. So once you're adding the permission set, you would be able to see the it has been segregated based on the permissions that has been defined. And here you can make the users inactive. You can send email notifications to them, and also you can delete the user. So this is about user and access. Coming to the customer portal. So I'll just take you to another system for the customer portal. Okay. I'm getting into the customer portal. As I told you, the organization who's holding the license would have the third-party service providers like customers, suppliers, the third-party contractors, whom they wanted to give access to our application. So in that case, we can create a portal and we can give access to them. Okay. So how do we create a portal? Here is a procedure. So here you have this default URL, and if you've got a custom domain, if you wanted to go with the custom domain, you can go with the custom domain. And this domain needs to be a verified domain. And let's go with this default URL now. So here you could see three different options: public, private, restricted. How do you want the portal to be set? If your portal is set to be public, then anyone who has the link would be able to sign up and join the link. They would be able to have access to the application. So going a level above for the security purpose, uh, only the invited customers would be able to join the portal. That is, the admin would add the customer into the portal, and an invitation will be sent to the customer. So once a customer accepts it, they would have access to the system. They can sign up for it and they can have access to the system. And the next level of security would be the restricted portal access. So now the sign up is all done. And after the sign up is being done, it'll go for approval. So one level of security, again, we are adding to it. And only if the admin approves that he's a verified user, he would be able to access the application. So this is the restricted level of access. So now let's go with the public access. So portal permission, by default, this customer portal permission would be created. So here you can see that we have options to add the customer. Say I'm adding abhinyajk@gmail.com. I'm setting the permission. By default, it has already created the customer permission set. We can as well create new set of permission. The only difference between the user and the customer portal permission set is when it comes to the field level permission, organization user would be for the organization user, we would be able to set the field level permission. But for the portal users, that is not possible. That's the only difference. So you can create the permission set and you can assign it to the customer. So this customer is being added to the system. So with the link, they'll be able to sign up and they can have access to the application. Okay. So this is a sample sign up page. So I'll just click on the link. We've created the portal link now. So when you go to the settings, now it is in the portal type is public. So here, notify admin or user on sign up. So whenever the user is signing up for the portal, if you want the admin or user to be notified, then you can enable this option. So this will be available for public and restricted, but not for the private mode. And also we have another option, allow customers to change their email address. So when you set this to be true, that is, if this is enabled, even after adding to the system, you would be able to change the email address of the portal user. Automatically, they would receive another invite, and from there they can have access to the portal system. So coming to the authentication. So here there are two types of authentication by which they can log into the system. One is using the federated login. What do you mean by federated login? So, for example, you would have gone into the Play Store and you would have tried downloading some application, and it would have asked you to sign up via Google or Facebook, right? You might have experienced this. So same is applicable for this portal system as well. You don't have to give a separate login credential. So Google and Facebook sign up. I mean, you can sign up via Google and Facebook account if you have. So that is one part. So the step-by-step procedure is given. The link will be shared to you by our co-trainers. So here you can see when you click on this ad, you would be able to add the client ID secret. And finally, you would have access to the portal. And this Google and Facebook would act as the identity providers in this case. So the user identity part will be taken care of by Google and Facebook. So this is about the federated login. Coming to the SAML authentication. So for doing a single sign-on in a secured way, we are going with the SAML framework. So for this, we are using the identity providers. The identity providers like OneLogin or AWS, they would take care of the user identity part. So once the user is trying to log into the portal, what happens is it will be redirected to the identity providers page, and they would identify if the logged in user is an authorized user. they would verify and send a response to Zoho Creator. And once Zoho Creator receives the response, then finally the user would be able to sign in successfully. So here also the identity provider would take care of the user identification part. Okay, and so coming to the email notification. So you must also be aware of the single sign-on system. So instead of having like multiple sign-on within Zoho Creator account, you have multiple applications, right? So you cannot have, like, say for example, there are 8 applications and 8 to 10 applications for which you would need to create separate login credentials for each application. It'll be a cumbersome job to remember all the user credentials, right? So in that case, you can enable the SAML framework, enable the single sign-on, and the identity provider will take care of the user verification part. And the user would have single access with which he can log into multiple applications. Okay, so coming to the email notification. So initially, the invitation template, whenever a customer is being added to the portal system, or if a password needs to be reset, we're sending an email invite, right? So that invitation format can be changed. So this is the page wherein you can change the format. So you have this portal available merge field, and you can select the fields from here. So, and you can do the modifications. Same as that, same is applicable for reset password template as well. And here we have options to do the page customization. So let me just take you to the sign up page. Now, if I click on the portal link, this is a sign in page that I'll be redirected to. If you haven't signed up, it will redirect to the sign up page. So if you want to modify this, then how do we do that? In this page customization, we have this login page, sign up page, and reset password page, right? So within this, we would be able to do the page customization. I have already done one, so let me just take you through that. I'll get into the portal. Page customization, and I have customized the login page, wherein I can brand my own organization name. This is a record template page with which you can design your template and you can add it as a sign up page. This particular area cannot be modified. This is static. But if you wanted to move it to the other side, or if you wanted to add a background to it, or if you wanted to add any elements to it, then you can do so by using the page customization option. So within the settings, we also have the option called record template. This is where it is redirecting us. Here you can see the record templates option. This is where actually the system is redirecting us, and you would be able to create the templates from here. So here, once the page is being designed, this is how the sign up page will look like when you click on the portal link. So you can do the page customization for the sign up page, login page, and also the password reset page. So this is about the customer portal. And coming to few other options like backup. So you can back up the application and the data using the backup option. So when you click on this backup now, it'll do the immediate backup. Meanwhile, you can continue other processes as well. And we can as well do the scheduled backup using backup based on date and time. So when the scheduled backup is done, say every day night 12 o'clock, I want the system to back up my data and application completely. It'll back up the entire structure, and it will also back up the data. So yeah, it has created a version. And if you wanted to restore it to the previous version, you can click on this restore option, and you can as well download this particular version or delete it. So every time when you create a version, you would be able to see the version backup versions here. Apart from the normal data backup being done, we can create it manually from here. And you have this audit trial option, uh, wherein you can check the modifications made with each transactions. Who has deleted is who has deleted the transaction, at what time it has been deleted, and if you wanted to specify any range, you can specify it. Who has updated the transactions? Everything can be seen using the audit trial. And also, export and print logs are also available, and this will be for the 3 months. 3 months data will be available. On request, we would also provide for the number of months that you're requesting. So, and coming to the localization part, here we have option to use different languages within the interface. For that, you can get into this localization, and you can set the browser's language, or you can set the languages that you prefer to. Say, for example, if you set the user's browser language to a different language, so what happens is the complete interface looks, will get translated to that particular language. So here I'll just show a sample. I'm giving add language. So here are the list of languages. Just reloading it. Okay. So here are the list of languages that is supported within. And if you're going with Zoho's account language, you can add this language, and it will take you to the page where it will ask you if you wanted to use Google Translator, or if you wanted to translate manually. So if you use this translate manually option, it will take you to the page where you would have all the modules and the fields. So for each field, you can do the translation, and that would appear in the at the form level when you access the application. So in this way, you can use this localization part. And we also have logs within which if you're creating any schedulers or approval process or the functions, and we can check if it has gotten executed successfully, the log will be available here. If there is any error in execution, you would be able to see the error here, and here are the log details. So with this, we're coming to end of the session. Hope you found the session to be useful. Now, a developer certification process will be explained by account management team, Akshaya. So I'm handing over the session to Akshaya now. So she'll be explaining on the development certification process. Thank you. I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'll also be muting my mic. I'm transferring the control to Akshaya. Akshaya, over to you, please.
Thank you, Abhinaya. Hello, everyone. Please let me know if my audio is clear through the chat process. And I will be sharing my screen now. Is the screen share visible? Please confirm on chat. Thank you. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining our 2-day training session. I hope this was very informative and gave you an idea of what Zoho Creator is all about, and how quickly you can actually build a lot of applications, and its value in terms of what it does to a business is quite phenomenal. So my aim for the quick 15-minute session that I want to take is to help you understand how you can be a better part of the Zoho creator community. There will be two aspects to this. I will be presenting on the developer program, and the partnership process will be presented by Shreesh from our team. So these two will help you understand how you can make use of all of the benefits of being a part of the Zoho creator community. I will also be letting you know about some of the exclusive discounts that we have designed for participants of this particular training session in terms of certifications, etc. So, with respect to the developer program and the community in general, as you all know, Creator is quite an old product. We've been here 11 plus years, and therefore we have quite an array of developers from varied backgrounds across the world, and we issue over we've issued over 1,000 certifications. With over 100,000 developers being available across the world. Our community is also extremely active, and we'll be going through what how you can be a part of the community and follow us, etc. Firstly, I'd like to introduce you to the developer home as developers who have been part of this process, and I believe who already registered with us in many other websites. This is the developer home for creator, and this is sort of a one-stop shop for all of the resources, all of the benefits that you get from creator, and it lets you know of those as well as how you can better manage and be a part of our community. If you have not signed up to the program as such, I have signed up right now. You can also try to sign up and get access to a free community edition for a limited period of time so that you can try out and test the product. We provide that. And you can also see that this page would cover the different sort of features that, apart from, how creator builds helps developers build applications better, we kind of have put together all of the things that you need to be a better creator developer. So we've had all our resources with respect to documentations, the webinars that we create, our video resources, and the knowledge hub that covers all of the new articles that people from our developer community as well as product management and training teams, all of the content we create, any updates we put out, all of the information is going to be available to you on this page. Further to that, it also covers training and certification, how you can be a part of the community, and how you can monetize. So, I'd like to draw special attention to some of these aspects today. So, Creator particularly provides three levels of certification. One is a business user certification, that is level 0. Level 1 would be associate developer certification, and for advanced developers, it's the professional developer certification. So BU or business user certification is somebody who's going to be using Creator in a predominantly no code area, and somebody who is in a business role and is trying to build basic applications. It is for you know more like a citizen developer certification. The associate developer certification is what I would recommend for those who have attended this 2-day training, though it is not meant to be, the training itself is not meant to be a curriculum for this certification. It largely covers some of the aspects, though not maybe in as much depth as you would like to. So you can actually just go in and take a look at what it requires, download the exam guide, and see what the curriculum is all about. We also have, dedicated a few FAQs, etc., in our certification page. You can go through that. We will be providing a 20% discount. I will let you know before I finish the session about what discount code to use. So this is a great opportunity for you to get accreditation from Zoho itself that is valid and can be marketed as part of your work and to add to your credibility as a developer as well. The professional developer certification, of course, is for advanced users and will require that you be an associate for over 2 years. So, in case you are interested in that, after a period of time, you can contact us directly, and we'll let you know how to go about that. We also have further training paths that are available that are oriented towards the certifications. So that's going to be like a training plus certification event. These are paid, so you can go ahead and explore some of these options. We have a dedicated training page as well. At this point, we only conduct online training. So um, any questions you have on this, you can also put across. This will be region wise divided into APAC, Americas, and EMEA. So, however it is suitable for you, it's a 4-day training, 3 hours a day is how we cover the syllabus. Apart from this, an important aspect that I wanted to emphasize on today is our community. See, we have a very, very active forum, and you can really make use of the forums to be a better developer in our case, because all of the certified developers and people who have been creator experts for over 10 years come to creator and kind of come to the forums and answer all of the questions. So if you have any questions, by just participating in the community, I think you would be able to make many contacts, as well as customers who are there will be able to recognize you. So you can simply click on follow here, and you would get all of the questions that people are posting right to your inbox. We also write a lot of articles about integrations, any tips and tricks that creator can and that you can use in creator. Some of our certified developers also write content, and if you become certified, some of these benefits you will get depending upon how you can communicate with the community, etc. So you can find all of that information here. Apart from that, we also have a section on how you can monetize with creators. Some of the small things that we would like you to understand here are there's a created marketplace wherein you can publish an application, and it would be made available to all Zoho users, wherein they can download it for a particular price that you would be able to set. um, the marketplace is also, for all of Zoho. There is extensions, integrations that are available in it. So it is quite a mature marketplace that you can explore, and not just monetarily as a developer. It would add to your credibility if you're able to post something on a marketplace as well. And with respect to becoming a Zoho affiliate, I think in after Sirish finishes, I think we could actually explore this. There is a possibility where you can actually refer clients to Zoho and earn money. So if you are interested in becoming a freelancer or taking up a project for a client without actually being a partner, you can directly refer the client and earn some money out of it. Apart from that, creator also has a page where we list some of our best freelancers, and we would recommend them to customers as and when we have any requirement. So if you are part of the community and you're very active, these are some of the benefits that you would be able to get, that you can see. I would also like to just point out where you can find a lot of the links that are available in this page. So this page itself is available as developer program under community. So the footer of Zoho creator, all of these links would be constant. So any Zoho creator page, you should be able to find the developer program, and you have training and certification. So the certification page talks about all of the certifications in detail, and also gives you a lot of the FAQs and the exam guides, etc. should be available in this page. So going back to the discount code that I spoke about, we are having an exclusive 20% offer for the first 30 participants. You can use the code CPT July 21, and this would give you access to the 20% offer. This is valid only until 31st July. So if you are interested in applying, you can just go to this page, click on Get Certified Now, and you make the payment here and enter on the promotional code. So you would get a 20% offer on our $99 fee for specifically for attendees of this event. If you have any questions regarding what I've just spoken about and what further benefits can you can get out of the program, please let me know in the questions tab or in the chat tab, and I will be able to help you with it at the end of the session. Also, the email address that you need to contact us with is certification@zohocreator.com. Please make a note of it. I would recommend that you can just bookmark some of the pages that I've already shown you. The main page for Zoho Creator developers is a great asset that you can just bookmark, and all of the latest information on Creator you can find here. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them at the end of the session. I think now Sirish from our team, from a partner team, will be explaining the partner process. So I'd be happy to hand it over to him. So I'll be stopping my screen share.
Sure, Akshay. Thanks for that. So, before I transfer the control to Srish, I have one more announcement to be made. So, many were asking for the blueprint session. Okay, so we have an upcoming session coming up on Zoho Creators Blueprint feature. So, that's a newly introduced feature which has been introduced to Creator this July. So, we have a session and we're going to share the session link now in the chat. So those who are interested can register for the session. So I'm posting it in the chat. So one is for the APAC and ANZ region, and one is for America and EMEA. You can go use this link to register for the session.
An official announcement will be made on the blueprint session on our community as well as our developer newsletters, etc. So in case you want to register later also, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah. So now I'll transfer the control to Srish. Hello, Srish. Over to you now.
Thank you, Vinaya. Thank you, Akshay. Hi, is everyone able to hear me? Thank you. So, and is my screen visible? Thank you for the confirmation. So, I will walk you through the Zoho Creator account management program and Zoho Creator partnership program to be specific. So, we have more than 300 partners of Zoho Creator across the globe, and we have three kinds of partnership with Zoho Creator. First is consulting partnership, where partner needs to sell as well as implement the solution for the customer. And as Akshay told you about the affiliate partner, in this model, you only need to refer the customer to Zoho. In this, you do not have to specifically implement the solution. And training partners conduct training programs for students as well as experienced professionals on behalf of Zoho Creator. Now, how the Zoho Creator account management team helps our partners? We help our partners to get the best offers for your customers. And also, in case of large deals, we can work out a custom pricing for your customers. If you want to apply for an RFP, our team will help you in gathering all the required documents and information for the RFP so that you can send out an effective proposal. Also, if you want to build and sell a product on Zoho Creator, our team can help you in planning the go-to-market strategy and provide ongoing support with your product and the go-to-market strategy. We can also help you in getting relevant training and certification. For example, this training, which was conducted by our solutions team, we regularly conduct such trainings. And so you can reach out to us if you need help with training and certifications. We will also share several technical sales and marketing enablement material, which can help you in capturing the market for Zoho Creator along for your customers. Once you become a partner, we provide ongoing operational assistance for our partners with any commission queries, queries with customers. If you need demos or if you want to go on a lead generation, do a joint webinar, all of that is done by our account management team. So, and next is what our partner training and solutions team does. So, this training is conducted by our training and solutions team. So, and this team conducts various training just like this one on a regular basis. This team provides fundamental and advanced training to Zoho Creator partner leads who have an interest in becoming a partner. It also conducts end-to-end training for existing as well as new Zoho partners so that they can get introduced to Zoho Creator platform before actually starting to work on the platform. When a partner or a customer needs a demo of the platform, this team helps with the demo to understand the capabilities of the platform for different verticals if required. This team also conducts monthly knowledge reinforcement trainings and webinars, along with upskilling and cross-skilling trainings. So, based on our partner feedback, that if there's a particular feature which requires an extensive training or some refresher training, we conduct that training along with our training and solutions team. Whenever a new feature is released, our training and solution team conduct a webinar for our partners to give details about the new features on how they can leverage this feature into the new product that they will be building. This team handles all training related queries along with sharing relevant documents. So if you have any queries, you can reach out to our team at partner-solution at zohocreator.com or partnership at zohocreator.com. Now, when we talk about solutioning, so this team helps you with various solutioning activities as well. They can help you with any technical queries when you are building a POC for your clients. They can help you understand the best approach to develop the POC based on their extensive experience that they have with building several products and POCs. When you want to deliver a solution for a particular use case or a business case, our team can help you in providing the best tech solution and the best course of action that you can use for delivering a solution for that particular use case. Along with this, they will help you in understanding the solution architecture, data structure, and data flow process for the solution that you're building for your customers. This team will also help Zoho partners for other products who have not been Zoho Creator partners as of now to check their project feasibility on Creator. So let's say if you have a customer and you are an existing partner for any other product, and you think that this functionality can be achieved on Creator, but you want to check if it is possible or not, or how much time will it take, this team can help you in getting all the relevant information on how feasible that application is on Creator. So that is all from my side. For any queries on our partner program or help with training and solutioning, you can reach out to the emails displayed on the right side of the screen. It is partner-solutions at zohocreator.com and partnership at zohocreator.com. I will open the forum for questions. Please write your questions in the questions panel on the left hand side.
So these are the list of solutions that we have built as a team. And first, let's go to the supplier portal system. So this portal system was meant for the suppliers. So all the suppliers would have the portal access, and right from receiving the orders, raising the invoices for their customers, and updating the shipment notification, adding the catalogs, everything is being handled by the supplier portal system. So this can be integrated with a third-party system as well. And you can see the dashboard for the solution that is being built, number of suppliers, number of supplier users, total number of catalogs. So Surendra was mentioning about the pages and dashboard concepts. So we have built this dashboard using the page component. Total number of purchase order, what's the value of the purchase order raised, and the statuses of the purchase order. So if I'm not wrong, the solution has been built within a week's time, not more than 10 days. And we also have other system like hospital employee management system, which Surendra was showing you. And we also have the contract management system. So if a contract has been raised by an employee, and if it needs to be signed by the higher authority, if a digital signature needs to be done, then they can use this contract management system to further proceed with the digital signature process. We have also done integrated this system with the Zoho sign, with which you can do the digital signature. So apart from this, we have other solutions like a distributor portal, which is similar to the supplier portal system. So here the portal users would be the distributors. Irrespective of the vertical, you can build solutions for any domain or any industry with Zoho Creator Platform. So with this, we're coming to end of the session. If you have any questions,